Well, yes, it's on purpose sometimes. So how networking works is this is the unique number of my computer. No one else has that number in this room. If you do an IP config all on your computers, what's your numbers that you come up with? Because the first time you see this, it looks like a bunch of GARP, a bunch of junk, but we want to figure out what it means so that it means something to you. So depending on where your laptop or whatever is connected, if you're connected to this room, you're going to have 10.0.1. If you have something different, you're connected to the WNCC internet because they have a different address scheme because it's a different network. 10.0.1, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get in the visual box, like the visual to be able to run this at the administrator.
Well, you don't have to run it as administrator. I just have to do that out of habit. You can go to start and type in CMD. That's fine.
Okay, yeah, I saw it back. Okay.
Yeah, you don't, I just do it by habit because usually I'm working on fixing something, you know.
Okay.
But CMD, this is perfectly fine for what we're going to be doing. It's just a habit for me. Because I'm usually trying to fix something. And usually you need administrator level to do that, but we're not, there's nothing we're gonna do that requires that today. So that was a good question. I was doing things without thinking. Did that work?
Yep.
And you have to scroll up a little bit because there'll be a bunch of stuff that, like each of these Dells has a wireless card and a Bluetooth card. And I don't know why it shows up with all these extra wireless connections. But this is the actual Wi-Fi card, but it's not connected with anything. And then they each have a Bluetooth card. And actually the Bluetooth and the wireless are on the same card. I don't know what this Wi-Fi direct virtual adapter business is, but it's not a real card. This is a physical card. This is only has to do with VirtualBox, and it's nothing we'll ever use. We'll never touch this ever because it doesn't really exist. It's how VirtualBox connects to our network card to read the network. So this is a real network card that's actually connected to a network. And what's your address there, Leza?
192.168.56.1.
Okay, that's this one. This is not a real address. It's a VirtualBox host only adapter. It's for VirtualBox to connect to your network card. This does not have a gateway. It does not have a DNS server. This does have a gateway and a DNS server and a DHCP server. This is all the information a real network card has. This is a fake network card. We will never use this for anything. It's what VirtualBox uses to connect to your real network card.
Okay.
Because we have to have this and a subnet mask to be a real address, which this has. But to get to the internet, we have to have a gateway.
Okay, so my actual one is kind of 10.0.1.162.
Great. How about yours, Christy?
1.0.1.163.
Yeah, so they're very close, but they're not the same. And they shouldn't be. They should be different. In any network, everything needs to be unique. If we had two computers named Christy, we'd have trouble because how do I know which one I need to go to? If we had two IP addresses that are the same, how do I know where to go? If there was two Mountain View Avenues in Scotts Bluff, one in the north part, one in the south part, how would I know to get home? There has to only be one. The default gateway is how we get out of our network. And in this case, in almost every case, that's how you get to the internet. So at home, when you're connected to your internet at home, you'll have the same kind of stuff going on, but the numbers will be different. But you'll have an IP address subnet mask, a gateway, A DHCP server, we probably haven't talked about that, have we? Maybe. Anyway, there's two different ways that you get an IP address. This has DHCP enabled. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So if you go home with your laptop, if you go to the grocery store, if you go to Walmart, if you go to a coffee shop, do you have to type in a bunch of numbers
For
for Wi-Fi access? Do you have to type in anything to say what your IP address is?
no, it's
No.
some place.
All these places use a DHCP server. The DHCP server hands out all this information to your computer and says, this is how you navigate here. You go to the dorm, you get stuff there that says, that's how you navigate there. The coffee shop, that's how you navigate there. And so that's what this address is. In my room, the address of the DHCP server, which gives all of our computers an address, is 10.0.1.12. And yours is going to be different at home, but you'll have one.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You see, the WNCC, they have free internet. Is it when you are a student, you can get a free internet, or wherever you come here, you can easily get to you can easily get to connect to the Wi-Fi and you have free internet.
Yes.
So when anybody here, the person can get internet, even though you are not a student.
Yes, because our WNCC internet is open. There is no authentication.
Okay.
In the Wild West, they'd have to know that it's password 01, and what are the odds of somebody knowing that?
Yeah, I thought it was like, since you are a student, they use your student ID to activate something.
Not for the wireless. No, they've not done that. They could. I mean, you could, but like if there's a public network at a coffee shop or a public network at a hospital, quite often they don't make you authenticate, but have you stayed in motel rooms and things?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes they get a little portal that comes up and says, put in your room number or something.
Yeah, our own was like the birthday password.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, it depends. But then you would connect and you'd be fine. So this is open, is what this is called. WNCC internet is open. This has a password and it's encrypted.
Sometimes only your room number, they can use it and just connect your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they're verifying that you're actually from the hotel.
I'm not sure I'm getting what you're saying.
Some hotels that I've gone to, you just type in your room number to identify yourself.
Okay, so if they activate it, how is it going to be only you that will be able to access the Wi-Fi?
It doesn't. They're just wanting to they're trying to get you to confirm that you are who you are. No, they can't tell by the room.
Okay, but
The only way to make sure would be to do what you mentioned, is sometimes they'll have like a little card by the bed that says, here's your Wi-Fi password, or they have it down in the lobby.
Right.
But not all of them do that. Some are wide open, some aren't. Just depends.
Oh, okay, I get you now.
But all of those are going to have DHCP servers handing out this information on how to get around on the network. So a DHCP server, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, hands out all this information and says, here's how you do things. A server, however, or a printer or my wireless access point, they use what's called static addressing. And I thought we did that assignment, didn't we? Well, anyway, let me go to my server and I'll show you. Because you come in here today and you might get 162. You come in tomorrow, you might get 167. The next day, you might get 184. Because it's dynamic, you may never have the same address again. Do you want Google moving around so you can't find it? WNCC.edu, do you want it to change location so you can't find it anymore? Do you want the printer to move? Do you want that to move? No, anything that provides a service, you want it to be in one place and it's always there. So it'd be like going home and suddenly your bedroom's in the basement. And the next day your bedroom's upstairs. And the next day they kick you into the backyard. That would be dynamic. Static means that this is your bed, this is your room, this is your laptop. My credentials. So this is a server, which is like google.com or like going to wncc.edu or connecting to Blackboard. You don't want Blackboard moving around. So one day you type in Blackboard, the next day you type in Blackboard 5, the next time you type in Bluebird. You know, you want it always to be in the same place. And so what they do is they set up what's called a static IP address. Static meaning it doesn't change. Dynamic means that it can change. Those are our two types of addressing that we use. Okay, where is it? There it is. See, it says manual. Manual is the same as static. This address, the server's always going to have that address. It is not going to change. My gateway, which is my router, is not going to change. We want it always at the same address. It stays. The printer, which we don't use very much anymore, the wireless access point, the switches, the things that provide services, we don't want them moving around. We want them to stay the same. And actually, this is one of my DHCP servers, this guy. ADS3. This is one of the two servers in the back of the room. Now, as far as my computer is not providing a service, like yours is not providing a service, so if we have different numbers from one day to the next, it doesn't matter. You'll have a different number at the coffee shop, at Walmart, at Walgreens, or wherever you go to connect, you're going to have different numbers. It doesn't matter because you're not serving out anything. You're not providing a service, you are consuming. So you are a consumer. Where the consumer is located, we don't care. But if I go to Walmart and they've moved the beans from one aisle to the next, then I have to look around and find them, or they move the potato chips or whatever. Then it's like, okay, where did they put those darn things? Don't you think a grocery store should always have everything in the same place all the time? That's what I figure.
That's exactly.
Yeah, but they move stuff around. And it's like, okay, where did you put the pinto beans or whatever I'm looking for? You know, right? Yeah, that would be a static address. They just rearrange things for who knows why. I don't know much about retail. I've never been in retail. I've been in the service industry where I fix computers. All right, that's the basics of that. Remember what a DNS server does? DNS is domain name service. If oh, here's a good example. Computers like numbers, but people can remember names. Is it easier to remember google.com? Yeah. Would it be just as easy to remember 142.250.190.46? Oh, absolutely. If you really like numbers, but no. So there's a translation service called DNS that says, oh, you want to go to google.com? This is the number that you want. In the olden days, we used to have phone books. You know what a phone book is? It's a book that has names and phone numbers. We used to have them. I mean, I still get one once every year, and I don't know, I keep it and I never use it from one year to the next, because if I need a phone number, what do? I Google whatever I'm looking for. You know, so if I want to know, oh, and I do, Rosalinda's tacos, because I looked this up the other day. So I wanted to have some, or a restaurant or something. I think it's tacos. And then I put in Scottsbluff. There we go. And this is what most people do now, right? They don't use phone books. They Google it. Oh, there it is. They make really good tacos. We had some yesterday, which was what making me think about it. Indian fried bread. Yeah, like fried, yeah. Or like a flat taco. Anyway, that's what we do now. Nobody uses a phone book. Not anybody that I know of. But they still publish them. So anyway, this is the phone book of the internet. DHCP, DNS. These are the servers I have for this room. You go somewhere else, you're going to have different numbers. Every network can be different. Like this network is different than WNCC's network. It's different than what I have at home. They're all going to have different numbers, but they all mean the same things. They all serve the same function. There, that is an important part, other than Rosalinda's tacos are really good. That's what this business is about. So far, so good. Maybe you'll have to hear it a million more times.